Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. In this video, we're going to be talking about why GameStop stock has been crashing and why at this point I expect it to continue. Now, if we take a look at GameStop today, down 60% from the open, now trading at $90. And if we take a look at how much it's down from the high that was on last Thursday, over $460, GameStop's now down 80% from that peak. And I know there's still a lot of people holding on to their shares of GameStop thinking that it's going to go to the moon, but at this point I think that is getting less and less likely, and I'm going to show you the reasons why in this video. Now, the first reason is that the short interest has been dramatically reduced over the past few days. So if you remember, the main thesis for GameStop was that over 100% of the shares were short. So if a group of people just bought up a bunch of shares and held them, then these short sellers would be forced to pay higher and higher prices to be able to cover their shares. But over the past few days, that's undone itself, and now the short interest is sitting at 39%. So you can see here, the shares tumbled to just 39% short interest, below the nearly 140% it stood at just 2 weeks ago. So these are two completely different things, right? Buying when there's 140% short interest is a lot different than 39%. Even though 39% is still a extremely high short interest percentage, it's nothing like having over 100% of the float short. And so people can ask, how can the short interest go down this much while the stock is also going down? And you can blame this on a lot of things, like brokers not allowing people to buy GameStop or any of these other highly shorted stocks. You can argue it's manipulation by the hedge funds, but either way, this is where we stand right now. GameStop down 60% today, and the short interest is under 40%. Now, the reason I think that this move is pretty much over in GameStop, that we're not going to see another 100% plus increase in the stock, is because really what we have now is a classic prisoner's dilemma between people that are holding the stock of GameStop. What that means is that, yeah, if the holders of GameStop stock cooperate and agree to hold their shares, yeah, GameStop could go higher, but that's not in anyone's best interest anymore. Because here's the thing, on Reddit you have a bunch of people saying, they don't care if they lose money, they're just doing this to stick it to the man, or get back at these hedge funds for what they've done. But I think that's pretty easy to say as your stocks are going up, right? As your account value keeps going up and up and up, it's easy to say that you don't care if you lose money, you're just holding this to make a point. But what we're starting to see is when that goes the other way, when people are actually losing money and their huge gains that they had are starting to disappear, we're actually starting to see people realize that they care more about their own money than making a point. And so I think that's at the point we're at now, where over the past few days, especially today, people that had very large gains in the stock, a lot of those gains are completely wiped out and people are now in the red. So the question becomes now, do I continue to hold, or do I cut my losses or take whatever gains I have and get out? And again, that's where this prisoner's dilemma comes in, because if everyone that owns GameStop agrees to not sell, then sure, the price will continue to go up. But at the same time, if you're someone that's holding at $400, and if you're up 1,000% on the stock, you now have enough money to pay off your debt or buy a nice car or whatever you want. At that point, making a point to the hedge funds isn't as high a priority as it may have been originally. And so because of that, it's in people's individual best interest to sell out and take what gains they have. Because it's no question that GameStop is worthless at these levels, and it's going to crash whenever this is all over, and people know that. So this is really just a game of musical chairs, and whenever the music stops, whoever's left holding the bag is going to lose a lot of money. And so there's a few situations that could happen. The first thing is that everyone can continue to hold, and the hedge funds will eventually continue to cover, and that would mean the stock price would go up. Or what I expect to happen is we see some people still holding, but a lot of people starting to sell out. And I think that's what's been happening over the past few days, where we've seen a pretty substantial drop in the price of GameStop. And then the last thing that I think will happen eventually is that everyone decides to get out all at once. So a bunch of people trying to cram the exits, and that's when the stock is probably going to completely collapse. Now, I think this is unfortunate. I think a lot of people got in over their heads. They didn't really understand what was happening, and they got in GameStop believing that everyone's going to hold and GameStop's going to $1,000 a share. But the reality is that people are going to sell, and even if no one does sell, the company eventually, GameStop, is going to come in and issue new stock, right? It would be insane for them not to. Even at this valuation, after it's dropped 80%, even at $90, it's still a no-brainer for them to issue new shares and raise cash. And so because of this, in the medium to long term, the stock's going nowhere but down. I think people that have been getting out over the past few days have been doing the right thing. Even though it sounds great, everyone stick together, hold your shares, and the price will keep going up. That's not reality. People always put their own interests first. And so because of that, I think it's pretty likely that the top isn't in GameStop and it's mostly downhill from here. Now, another interesting thing that's been going on with Wall Street Bets and Reddit is a discussion on silver and if there could be a short squeeze there. Now, this was reported all over the news over the past few days, and then you had people on Reddit come out and say that this isn't real. We never said that we want to cause a short squeeze in the silver market, but that's not true because I did see a couple of posts on Wall Street Bets making the case for a huge silver squeeze and what would happen if everyone bought silver, and that post had something like 6,000 upvotes. So definitely not true that no one on Reddit said this. All right, this was a popular post on Wall Street Bets, and a lot of people were talking about it. Now, that being said, as a result of this, a huge jump in silver yesterday, and then today silver crashed back down 8%. Now, as someone who's interested in where silver and gold are going, since I have a position in Sprott, which is an asset manager mainly in silver and gold, personally, it would be great if Reddit does cause a short squeeze in the silver market, because it's no question that metals are some of the most manipulated markets out there right now. And if everyone bought silver and requested it to be delivered to them, there's just not the quantity of silver to meet all that demand. And so could that be starting right now? Could silver be starting a short squeeze and going to $100,000, $1,000 a share? Maybe, probably not. But even besides that, I still think silver is a good investment. I think silver starting an uptrend again. We've now seen a higher high and a higher low over the past couple of months. I think silver is going back in an uptrend. I think gold is about to do that too. And if we do see that, I think silver and gold will both perform very well, as well as silver and gold stocks, regardless of this Reddit silver trade happening or not. So that's it for this video. Just wanted to have a quick discussion on, why I think the top is in on GameStop, what I think is going on with silver and Wall Street Bets. Let me know down in the comments if you bought in at all to GameStop, if you're still holding, and what you're thinking about doing. That's it for this video. If you found value, hit the like button to help out my channel. If you're new here, hit the subscribe button and hit the bell icon so you don't miss any of my new uploads. So that's it for now, and I'll see you on the next video.